You get home from work at 5 p.m. You've got 1 hour left until your in laws arrive. You're booked for the whole week. The week after that, your daughter's jazz band begins in middle school, and you're the conductor. So you've got precious time to spare to play a game and potentially have some enjoyment come out of it. You're looking for a review that matches your perspective as somebody who is inundated with responsibilities of the regular 9 to 5 job and what comes after. Well, I've designed the game ranking tool for the 9 to 5 worker. I have established a set amount of categories that aim to dissect the game and evaluate it based on its merits from those who don't have much time to play and are looking to maximize their enjoyment in a limited amount of time. In this video, I'm going over the game Monster Hunter Wilds. I'm going to break it down and I'm going to say, in my opinion, and based on the scores that I've identified, is it worth your while? So let's get right into it. So Monster Hunter Wilds is a multiplayer co-op RPG. You kill monsters with your friends. The cost right now is 89.99 Canadian. So that is peak AAA price. It's almost as expensive as they come nowadays. I played it for, as far as I go, this is a lot. I played for 66.8 hours, so I know a decent amount of the game. And so we'll just get right into the scoring. Time to reward. So you buy the game, you boot it up. How quickly are you having fun? For this game, there's a few hurdles that you need to be aware of. It's a big download. It's going to take you a while. Lots of gigabytes to get done. So that's going to, maybe pre-download it while you're at work, and then you can skip that step entirely. When you launch, you're going to have to wait for shaders to compile. I don't know what that means. All I know is you can't play. It's another loading screen. Then when they compile, I think you spend a brief amount of time customizing your character, but you can skip that if you don't want to do that. Then there's a cutscene. You can skip the cutscenes though, so that's not so bad. And then you're going to be fighting the first monster. So assuming you pre-download it, and then the shaders, maybe they take a while. Half an hour? No, 10 minutes. Skip the cutscene or watch it. It's not that bad to get in, but it's not great. I'll say 3 out of 5. One thing you have to be aware of before you even consider this game, if you are playing on PC, you need an absolute monster rig to run the game in its current state. You just do. You're going to be playing on low poly Atari mode. All of the monsters are going to look like triangles. When they do their powerful attack, your game is just going to crash. So be aware of that. There are some third-party modifications you can get to potentially reduce the strain it has on your computer. So maybe if you're really eager to play this title and you don't have enough in the bank to go buy a 5070, then maybe start doing some research now about how you can break into an affluent neighborhood and steal some teenagers' expensive gaming rig, because you won't be able to play it without pretty high-end hardware. That being said, time to reward, not so bad. Learning curve. This one's bad. So I will cut to the chase and tell you I am a big fan of this game. I liked Monster Hunter World immensely. I played that for a lot. I played that for a long amount of time. But the advantage that I have with this game is I took all the learning from my 100-something hours of Monster Hunter Worlds, and it does directly translate into this game. So learning curve is how easy is the game to learn, how long does it take to become proficient. If you've never played a Monster Hunter, there is a steep learning curve. This game is arguably the easiest of the titles, but even with that, there are things you have to learn with regards to the moveset of the weapon types. Each weapon type is effectively akin to a class in a different game. The gameplay is fundamentally different based on the weapon that you're holding. You need to learn at least one weapon type. You need to learn how to use it effectively. And it's not always intuitive what that is. Like the best combinations of weapon hits mathematically aren't intuitive always. So you might need to do a bit of third-party research if you really want to maximize your proficiency. Beyond knowing how your weapon works, there are a range of different monsters that you're killing. And you need to know, when is it safe for me to attack them? It's very similar to Dark Souls. You have an evade, and you have an attack. And the monster has an attack pattern. And so you need to not be greedy and try to hit it when it's going to hit you, or you're going to die. And then when you die, there's a loading screen, you got to walk back, it's a whole ordeal. So the game is more fun the better you are, no questions asked. And I'm good enough where the game is not very difficult, and so for me, super maximum enjoyment. But I have an unfair disadvantage in that I played the previous game for a lot, and there's some of the same enemies have the same attack patterns. The weapon type has a similar attack style. So if you're totally new to the series, you're not only going to have to learn how does my weapon hit, how do the enemies attack me, you're also going to have to learn what are the consumables, how do I gather materials and craft them into things that are useful to me. There's so many things that you can have cluttering your inventory, and you are going to have to learn which of these are even worth my time in a loadout. You have to do research. There's 99% of what you pick up is garbage, and you'll never use it, but it will get in your way. You need healing, you need status curing, you need nets, you need that's it. You're good. No, you need almost that's it. You need like a flash bug. Very few things, but you need to be able to skim through all the other garbage, and you need to craft those things and know how to craft them. A lot of learning. Unintuitive interfaces. How do I click to this? How do I join my friends? Even learning that is a curve of its own. So honestly, it has one of the worst learning curves. And this is coming from some. I love this game. I think this game is crack. I think the gameplay loop in this game is phenomenal. I think the sound effects when you hit something with your sword is just perfect. There's so many things they did right with this game, but I can't pretend that it's easy to learn and get into. It's not. If you want to get into this, know that it's a multiplayer game. Do research. Google what is a good loadout. It'll tell you. Google longsword build if you want to play the longsword. Not only will it tell you what armor to equip, because there's unique armor skills and gems and decorations and all of that stuff, it'll also tell you what weapon combinations you need to attack with to do the most damage. So, unfortunately, with this game, the reality is the better you are, the more fun you're going to have. So, if you want to be good, you're going to have to do some Googling. Otherwise, you can play this game with no research, but that's going to increase the amount of time you spend in interfaces. Boring. It's going to increase the amount of time that you are crafting. Boring. It's going to increase the amount of time you're hunting monsters in a bad way, in that you're going to be constantly dodging, running out of stamina, carting, which is dying, running back to site. It's going to, if you don't do any external research for the first-time player, you are going to increase the amount of non-fun time you have. And so it's in your best interest to either skip this game entirely if you're not up for the learning, challenge, or become very efficient and quickly learn the things you need to succeed. And if you have a friend who's willing to help you along the way, who's a Monster Hunter veteran, they can massively accelerate the time in which you learn this game. They'll tell you immediately how to connect, what to press, what settings to use, how your weapon behaves. They'll tell you what items are worth your while. They'll tell you how to set up your loadout, one and done forever. And so if you have that helping hand, or you're willing to go online because there's tons of resources to help you learn, fantastic. If you're not, God help you. So it's a hard one to learn. I'll tell you that for sure. Session flexibility. So it's an online game, but you can play single player. That being said, each hunt is going to take anywhere from now, speedrunners, a minute 20 with perfect setup, but regular human beings with the end game monsters, you're looking at, for me, well, it depends on what you consider end game, right? It's between like 5 and 20 minutes only in this game because you can really get super overpowered. But it's not, when I played World for the first time, it's not uncommon to get up to a 30-minute hunt or longer for the really, really healthy bosses. But think 10 to 20 minutes, that's going to be your average hunt. And you can easily quit out in between that. So as far as session flexibility goes, you may think, okay, 20-minute commitment is not so bad. But there's other bullshit in between the hunting that you may need to do. Oh, like you want to do that side quest, you got to go catch that monster. Or you don't have enough potions, so you're not going to go for a hunt. How are you going to heal? You don't have any demon drugs, so you're not going to do enough damage, so you got to go farm that material. So it's 20-minute segments, 10 to 20-minute segments, and with some sprinkled bullshit in between, that extends it a little bit. So I'll say it's pretty flexible session-wise, but if this is also not the type of game that you're necessarily going to go in and do a single hunt, because it's a bit of an ordeal. You got to get your friend ready to log in. You got to both connect to the same lobby. One of you has to post a quest, and you have to go. You're probably going to want to chain a few hunts together. So be willing to open that up a little bit more and have a longer period of time. So maybe I'll reduce that down to a 3. It's not like super freeing and restricting. And if one of you disconnects, there's a whole ordeal to get back together. And are you going to leave the hunt or wait for them to rejoin? So grindy or tedium? Yeah, there's definitely a grind in this game. I would say that between this game and the last game, this game is way less grindy. It respects your time more. It's easier for you to get to your objectives. What I found absolutely comical and ridiculous is that some people are complaining, many people are review bombing this game, complaining about how frictionless it is. They say the game is too good at getting you to the actual hunting. I remember when it took me 20 minutes just to cook a perfectly medium rare steak before I could hunt. I think those people need to seek psychiatric help. Everything that they have done, the developers, to make this game frictionless is a blessing. You can now hop on a little mount that takes you to the monster. Perfect. Inventories, with regards to crafting, there are now NPCs that automatically scavenge for the things that you need so you don't have to go and find them yourself. Perfect. I am playing this game to hunt monsters. I'm not playing this game to cook steaks, to sharpen my weapon, to go scavenge for berries in the forest. It's a video game. And so, from the 9 to 5 worker perspective, you will appreciate the quality of life amenities that Wilds has added to this gameplay over Worlds. So, if you played Worlds and you said, man, it's so tedious to go have to get this Mandragora to make my ancient potion, don't fret. It is no longer nearly as bad. You can spend the majority of your time killing monsters, and all of the other shit will just take care of itself in the background. It's great. The Secret is a fantastic addition, the little mount thing. I press tab on my keyboard and I just lean back. The monster goes, he roars, he fucks off, he flies to a plateau in the northeast corner of the map. Before, I had to figure out how the fuck do I get up there. I follow my little bug trail and then it glitches out and it goes backwards and it jumps me down. Now, the little dog thing that you're on, he knows the way. You sharpen your weapon while you're on the dog, you drink your potion while you're on the dog. It's peak. It's truly peak. So the grind in Tedium has been reduced. That being said, too bad. It's the nature of this game is so grinding. You're still killing the same monster 50 times, so it drops its left talon bone speckle for you to make your tier 2 sword to upgrade into your tier 3 sword. That is part of the game, though. So when I weight the category for grind, I'm looking at two separate things. I'm looking at, is there a grind extra to the core gameplay loop that has nothing to do with the game that it's making you do? Or is the grind itself fun and part of the game? If the grind itself is just killing monsters and looting them, well, I don't really consider that a grind. I say that's what you're here to do. But in this game, it still makes you go and get fucking mining nodes for ore, little bugs for this, even interacting with the NPCs and unlocking them in the first place to be able to scavenge the material needs. I consider that a grind in itself. So there is still a grind in this game, which is extra things that are outside of the core gameplay loop, where it's forcing you to partake in them in order to enjoy the things that you actually want to do. Because you could ignore those things, but if you ignore the grind, you have less your charms, you have less accessible upgrades, and you have less material farming vendors that are available. So you kind of have to do it if you want to maximize your enjoyment. Value proposition. So the game's damn expensive. It's a AAA game. And so you have to ask yourself, well, how much content is there in the game? And this is where you need to be careful with what the reviewers are saying. Some reviewers are saying, man, there's nothing to do in this game. And then you look underneath the curtain and you see, oh, 110 hours. Questionable then. There's nothing to do. What were you doing for those 110 hours? As someone like myself, I have 66.8 hours. And I didn't spend much time hitting my head against the wall. I did all the side quests. I did all the main quests. I farmed the hardest monsters for my gear. And that's kind of it. That took me 66 hours, and it was fun doing it. So I'd say, how much content are we asking for nowadays where 66 hours isn't enough for full price? Do I need 500 hours? The issue is a lot of people playing this game are comparing it to Monster Hunter Worlds, which was out for years and had multiple title updates, which are free content updates with additional monsters and additional armor sets and things to do. And it also had paid DLC, which was a massive expansion. So yes, if you compare this game to the previous game, there is far less to do. That doesn't mean there's little to do in this game. If you play this game and you go through the campaign, especially as a new player who isn't as familiar with the systems, it will naturally take you longer to kill each monster, but you'll be having fun and learning along the way. There is a lot of content in this game, and it's just truly a lie. And I think it's just people who are irrationally upset that there isn't immediately a flagship DLC's worth of additional content immediately upon launch, because they spent 2 weeks off school playing all day, every day, and they got all of the fun out of the way, and now they're wishing they had something else. But for you and for me, when we can only play a few hours at a time, trust me, you're going to get a lot out of this one. So don't worry too much about it. That being said, it's expensive. So the value proposition is medium. It's come see, come saw. If it were cheaper, great. If it had even more content, great. Those things would elevate it. But no, it's expensive. And for a full price game, you get a full price game out of it. So it's middle of the pack there. Bear in mind, this is a type of game that has title updates. It's giving you more content for free. So a year from now, even for the same price, it's very likely that there's way more to do. So this is going to be a dated review in that I can't speak for what the future timeline of content updates is. I don't know, but anticipate that there will be more in the future, and it's likely going to go to a 4. And when the DLC comes out, it may end up as a 5. Probably not for value proposition, though, because it's so expensive. Is it easy to remember what you're doing? Kinda. This game is not a traditional RPG in that, like, there's only so many side quests. There's a hub world, and you just navigate to each one more like a checklist. So it's not like an open world where you're going to get lost as to where you are. So it's not hard to remember where you are in the story because it tells you in your journal exactly what point you're in. The difficulty with this game is not remembering what you're doing, and that's what the memory burden is how easy is it to remember what I'm doing. So if you put the game down and you come back to it in a month, are you going to remember what the hell is going on? Well, I would say the hard part is learning in the first place. So if you were able to understand, what does this monster do? What does my sword do? What does this armor do? You will likely retain that information. But it is a big game. And so if you truly do not pick it up for a long time, its upgrade system is unique to itself. There's not like a talent tree or anything like that. The armor bonuses and the decorations, which are nodes where you can install little upgrade gems, understanding how that system behaves is not intuitive, and you almost have to do research to know, like, is critical boost better than weakness exploits? Is agitator level 5 better than maximum might level 3? No human on the planet can intuit the answer to that. You have to watch a guy on YouTube who simulated it telling you the answer. So it's easy to forget that. So I would say the memory burn also isn't great. Core loop satisfaction. I think if you know what the hell if you're bad at the game, it's not going to be as fun. If you know what you're doing and you skip as much of the bullshit as possible, you've got a good loadout. It's got tranquilizing bombs. It's got a pitfall trap and a net trap, and you have tons of consumables to make more of them. You've got your power charm, and you've got your armor charm in there too. You have your flash bug so that you can stun the Rathalos the second it starts flying. When you've got your loadout locked down, and your armor skills are min-max, you got the critical boost on the Ardian weapon, or you're using the tempered Zoshia armor sets, or sorry, just the Zoshia weapon. You're using the competitive armor, the competitive weapons. You know the enemy encounters. You know, okay, time to, I'm going to chain in my shock trap to my pitfall trap, to my paralyze on my sword, to my flash bug. Oh, he's weak now. Tranquilize him, and he's captured instantly. Once you've got that locked down, the game is fantastic. You have to play it. 5 out of 5. Such a fun experience. Killing the monsters is so satisfying by yourself or with friends. It's really worth it to get into it. So even though this one's going to be a tough nut to crack because it's going to take you a while, if you're truly new to Monster Hunter as a game franchise, it's going to take you a while to get into it and to know what the hell is going on. Resources do exist. It is a very popular game. There is a huge player base. And this one is a masterpiece. So if you are a member of the bourgeoisie or aristocratic class and the dollar value of your computer is 5,000 plus, and so that's the barrier to entry to play at all, assuming you spend all of your money on gaming PC hardware, then it's worth your time to give this one a try to learn it, because then not only can you enjoy this, but you can go pick up Monster Hunter World 2, and you can play that thing, and that's also fun. That being said, you will miss all the quality of life features that you have in this one, but don't fret, they're going to add more content to this one. And it's got a huge player base. It did crazy numbers, and I'd be shocked if they didn't add another title to this franchise. And so the learning that you invest in this game may also help you in the future for the next game. But, being truly fair and objective, it's hard to learn, and if you really just want to have fun today, it's unlikely that if you've never played this, you're going to pick it up and like it right away. So maybe give it a pass, or do some research, figure out what you might want to do, look at one weapon type that interests you, figure out some moves. The good thing about the game is Although the systems are complicated to learn, you start off small, and you can only craft one armor set in the beginning. So you don't need to know what every armor skill does. So you can learn in chunks, and that reduces the burden on you to learn everything all off the bat. So it's not that bad. Would I give it any personal flex points? Yeah, buddy. Let's give it 3 points. Nope. 0.3, sorry. I enjoy it immensely. If you go and look at this game right now and you look at the Steam reviews, what you are going to see is this is the worst game ever made. That's what you're going to see. If you then look at people playing it on YouTube, you're going to see people saying, wow, this is one of the most fun games I've ever played. Why is that? Well, it's because everybody who's upset on Steam can't play the game at all because it's so poorly optimized. Is that a legitimate criticism of the game? Of course. It's a good warning sign that you shouldn't buy it if you literally can't play it. But don't let that make you think it's a bad game. Because if you can run the game, it's good. And all people are complaining about is, boo-hoo, there's not enough game, or I can't play it. So neither of those two things are actually critical of the game itself. They just love it so much that they wish there was more, or they can't play it at all and they're upset, which is reasonable. I understand that. But if you have a good PC, and you have common sense about how much content you can expect out of a new game, don't let those reviews scare you at all. I played the game. It's phenomenal. It's an amazing game, assuming you can run it. So think about that. Let's add it to the list of games. Monster Hunter Wild. It pains me to have a game I enjoyed so much so low on the list, but it is truthful for somebody with limited time to play that it is not so highly scored because it does take a while to get into, and there is a certain amount of tedium and grind to it as well. 3-1, quadruple 3-5. 3-1, 3-3, 3-5, and then I believe I had 0.3. Oh, hello. Quadruple 3. 5 and 0.3. And that makes a 3.3, and so we'll sort this, and it's at... Sorry, let's sort this one, let's see. It's not the worst, but not the best, so take all of that advice and see what you think, and maybe you'll get it.